What is up, guys? Welcome back to another 1.6.4 Forge tutorial, modding tutorial for Minecraft. So let's jump right into this. In the last video, we went over some things that we're gonna need some proxies for. So we're gonna set up a proxy. Now, some of you guys might be joining in and might need a proxy or wondering what a proxy is. But basically, we need proxies to handle things that the client should be running or that the server should only be running, or mainly what the client should only be running. So we're going to set that up. But before we move on, I want to correct one thing that we went through in the last video, and that was something to do with the build here that I kind of noticed afterwards. If you go to break the block, as you can see, I'm hitting it and I'm not really hitting it correctly. So you could set its bounds, its boundary, by going into, oh geez, I should have got this kind of ready, but there's a spot in here. Well, let me load this up right here, actually. So this dot set block bound, so you could set the boundary of it to make the boundary suit your block. So, for example, if you just made a normal block, you might notice your hitbox, I guess you can call it, like the hitbox for it, isn't there. So you can adjust these variables here in the floats within inside this class here. I'm just gonna remove, comment this code out. You could adjust the hitbox for it though. Play around with these values, and you should be able to correct it. Okay, so moving on from that though, because we're going to move on to the proxies, because if you try to run the server with this code, your server will crash. You won't be able to run the server. So let's correct that because we're rendering. There's a part right here in the code that we're rendering that is crashing us on the server. So if you try to run the server, it will crash us. So let's go ahead and fix this. And I found a nice tutorial on proxies for you guys. So if you navigate to this Bedrock Miner, can't really read it all. I'm playing off the TV, but I think you guys should be able to make that out. And navigate to this site, and he has an awesome tutorial here. I like the way he had his proxy set up, and you could download his the source here. So go ahead, download that. And we'll use that in this tutorial. So I got the source right here. Open that up, go into Calm, Bedrock Miner tutorial, and we're going to need to make 3 classes. So we'll go ahead and we'll do that. So let's make a new package for this. Well, let's call it proxies, I guess. We can store all our proxies in there. I'm not sure if it's going to hurt our code not having part of the proxy in our main package. Hopefully not. But yeah. Okay, so let's make a package here. We'll call it proxies, lowercase for, new folder. Did I just say package? Yes, I did. I meant new folder. We'll make a new folder. New folder. Call it proxies, and finish. And we'll add 3 new classes to this. New class inside that folder, and we'll call it common proxy. And client proxy. It's getting late and I'm getting tired, guys. Bear with me here. Client proxy. And the last one was server proxy. And finish. Okay, so let's go and we'll grab the code inside here, that Bedrock Miner. I believe that's his username supplied for us. So this is the code for client proxy. So we could just basically, copy and paste everything over here. Go ahead and we'll grab the next one, common proxy. Don't have to import his package, we got our own package. Minimize this, put this up, common proxy, right here, and server proxy. Okay, so I have tested this out a little bit, but I haven't, tested it fully and got through all the bugs, so we're probably going to have some crashes, I'm assuming here. So let's save all this, client proxy. There's an error in here, what's going on? Import, something going on here. There's a little bit of an error in here, client proxy, it's client proxy. I'm not quite sure. Oh, right here? I'm not quite sure why that error is there. Okay, it might be looking for something. It doesn't appear to be handling all my imports. Let me import this stuff. Erase all that. So not importing my package. Imported. Okay, well, whatever. Didn't want to import. Give me the import. I must have erased it. Or give me the package, I meant. There we go. That should fix it. I didn't realize it. I must have deleted my package. Okay, so your package. And that's all set up. So all this is all set up. Let me just double check. Yes, yes, and yes. Okay, now we can go into main.java, and we'll grab some stuff from here. We will grab, this line of code right here. So we have to, even though we have the classes, we still have to initialize it from our main class. So in your main class, I guess we'll put it down here. We'll add this, and we'll import common proxy from my package proxies. Client side, so we could actually erase all this, and we could erase all of that, and we'll have to add our own. So it's looking for our package. So I'm in my package dot proxies, or that's where our proxy is, I should say. My package dot proxy. Did I spell it with? That's how I spelled it. Yes, sir. So I'll copy and paste that over. And yeah, I'm not sure if this is going to have a problem because I don't have it in my main class. But I'm thinking it's going to work as long as we have it set up properly here. Okay, a few more things we have to do. We have to grab out of here. We have to initialize it in our event handlers. So let's do that. And we'll just put it at the top. I'm not sure if it should initialize first. I'd rather put it at the bottoms of these events, but this is fine. I'm sure for now we could always correct any bug afterwards. I'll make this of the type event though. Doesn't really matter if it was E or event. And we'll copy these over. And we've got to add 3. And this one is just a normal init. the lowercase I. And one more for down here, our lonely event that isn't doing anything. And this is post in it. Alright, so everything's set up, it's all ready to go. So let me just run the client here just to make sure nothing's gonna crash and everything is set up before we move on. My package proxies, client proxy. Looks like it's set up. Okay, client started, so must be set up correctly. So to test it a little further, let's go ahead and we'll move over our code here. If you want, you can test the server right now, and you'll see that it will crash because we have this in here. So let's get this out of here. And we're going to move this over to our client proxy. And we're going to put it in our initialization event in our client proxy. So now this piece of code isn't going to execute on the server, which would cause our crash. The server, is handling things that are done on server side. So for any server side code, client for any client side code, and common is being shared between the two. So any piece of code that goes in here would be shared amongst these two, I believe. That's what the common is. So as opposed to writing code in here and in here, you just put it in here. So it's pretty cool setup. Let's go ahead and we'll run the server, test the server, and we'll see if the server is going to start. Cross our fingers. Now, if our server crashes, we're going to have to, go and look in our code to see things are rendering that shouldn't be rendering from the client. But it says done. Our server did run, which is awesome. If your server crashed, you probably, probably either A, didn't set up this correctly, didn't set up the path properly. So we're using, I'm using my package.proxies. You might be using whatever package you're using, point it to there. Or another possibility is you're executing some type of a render piece of code in your actual client side where it shouldn't be executing client side. So try to troubleshoot that by commenting out pieces of code. Like for example, this piece of code right here to see if this is crashing it, because it might not be getting the right directory. And then we can move on. So let's move on to actually testing the server and running off the server. So to do that, no, don't need this anymore. We'll go into Modding Tutorial. Now, somewhere in here is our server file. And okay, we have crash reports here, so I'm guessing our server is in here somewhere. Yes, it is in here. Okay. Server properties. And we'll set this to offline mode. Where is it? I know you guys are staring right at it saying, why can't you see it? So we're going to put online mode to false so that we can actually join the server. And we'll close that. And now we can run the server and the client, and we can connect to the server. So we'll run the server first to get the server loaded. I'll run the client afterwards. I don't want to load both of them at the same time, just because I am recording and I need a little bit too much more RAM than I have. Okay, done. I can run the client now. And this kind of stuff you could run the server just to see if the server starts, and that's good enough. But it is good to know that, hey, you can connect to your server, and your mods are actually working when you connect to the server. So let's go to multiplayer, and we'll go add server, and we'll go localhost, and I believe that should do it. You might run into problems with a localhost if you're on a router or something. I'm not sure. You have to figure out how you set up a server and all that, and go through those steps. So here's our server. We'll join. Let's see if we get booted. No, we did not. So awesome, we can connect to the server. There was one thing I forgot to change, and that was the game mode to creative, so that we could test out our blocks. So you'd have to go back into the server file. I'm not going to reload that, but you guys could do that on your time. But that pretty much wraps up the server, or this tutorial. Just go into here, change the game mode type to, where is it, guys? It's in here, game mode difficulty, game mode 0. Change this 0 to 1, and next time you load the server and connect to your local host, you'll be on creative, and you can test out your mods like that, and your give commands and all that good stuff. So that wraps up this video, and I guess we'll move on to something else in the next tutorial. I'm not quite sure yet. Peace out, guys. Make sure you like that video.